The following program is a Town of Colonie television production of the William K. Sanford Town Library.
Hello and welcome to today's program about the Women's Club of Albany. I'm Joann Crupi, a board member and secretary of the club, and with me are Charlotte Pryor, a former president of the Women's Club, and Maryhelen Lounello, a board member and co-chair of the Communications Committee. We're really grateful to have this opportunity to tell you about the Women's Club, which is one of the oldest not-for-profit organizations in the Capital Region. We'd like to tell you a little bit about the way the club operates and some of its activities. So Maryhelen, please start us off.
Certainly, Joann. First and foremost, I'd like to say that the Women's Club is a nonprofit community organization. Everything that we do has a component of giving back. Mostly our focus is on women and children in the Capital Region. For more than a century, we've been a center for women who want to pool their time, expertise, and energy to come together and make an impact on the quality of life in our community. And we do this in a lot of different ways. One way, for example, is we raise funds that we give to other community organizations to promote the good works that they do around the region. We're also very hands-on. We have done things like cooked breakfast recently at the Ronald McDonald House in Albany. We have planted gardens at shelters in our community that assist women and children in need. We, this past winter, held a baby shower, which was a wonderful event for our women to come together to help two young mothers who were referred to us by a homeless shelter. And really, we try to just ensure that everything that we do tells our community and our members that these are pressing issues. We try to bring to the forefront what the pressing issues are, especially those that affect women and children in the community.
How do you get all this done?
We are an entirely volunteer organization. We have no paid staff, so all of our members are very involved in our activities, and without our members, we wouldn't be able to keep our programs or our activities going. So we're a dedicated bunch.
Second, Joann, we're also a social club. We offer an opportunity for our members, their friends, their neighbors, or whoever wants to come in and get to know us on another level. We leave the business of the club behind, the stress of your job, your kids, your home, maybe your hubby, but you come and you enjoy each other's company and talk about issues that you have in common. Every other Tuesday during the summer, we host a party on the porch called Tuesday on the Porch, of course. And we like to say that our porch is the best view on Madison Avenue, and our members love to gather there. During the colder months, we do First Tuesday in the parlor, and it's the same format. We sit and talk and get to know each other on another level. We have fun themes and maybe a little wine.
Finally, Joann, we're a social venue, as Charlotte said, but we're also a rental venue. Our historic clubhouse is located at 725 Madison Avenue, just west of Washington Park in Albany. And the clubhouse is available for rent, which we then have as a source of revenue, which funds our activities. And it's really the perfect size if you're looking for something a little bit larger than your own home. So you can rent our beautiful clubhouse if, for example, you're having a party like a family does every year on Christmas Eve. They come in, they rent our venue, and they host their Christmas Eve dinner for friends and family members that have come from out of town. Because our home offers, kind of the warmth and the charm of your own home, but a little bit more space for you if you need a big dining room table. And it's also, as a rental venue, ideal for business meetings. We do host business meetings. We have a space that's large enough for a large group, but we also have smaller breakout rooms if people need that kind of a venue for their business meetings. However, the house is not yet fully accessible.
Let's talk a little bit about the history of the club. Charlotte, how long has the club been in existence?
Joann, the club was started in 1910 by Mrs. Elmer Blair, and that was back in an era when married women used their husband's first name. It was part of an international movement that saw similar organizations established in the late 19th and early 20th century when women sought to expand their influence. And remember, that was before women could even vote in the United States. There were 22 charter members of the Albany Club. They met in Mrs. Blair's garden and discussed social reform. After a year, the group had more than 300 members.
Wow. With such a long history, the club must have been involved in many, many important issues over the years. Can you tell us about some of them, Charlotte?
Sure. The club pushed the City of Albany to institute citywide garbage collection, fire protection, and mandatory meat and milk inspection. And largely through the club's efforts, the first woman's probation officer was hired in 1911. By 1914, the club began its long tradition of outreach and philanthropy through a program to keep children off the streets. Our archives document many times elected officials from the governor on down have sought the views and support of women's groups. We came across a beautifully handwritten note from one of the past presidents. She wrote movingly of the effects the Depression was having on the women in the club and the club itself and how they were coping. It certainly gave us a real sense of where the club stood in history. And speaking of history, we know that Eleanor Roosevelt attended many of the programs at the Women's Club when her husband, FDR, was then governor of New York before he was elected president.
Maryhelen, how does the club continue that legacy today?
We're involved in a number of community projects that reflect our mission to continue to improve the lives of women and children in the Capital Region. And we often will work with other community organizations that have that same goal, that same mission. And this year, we're very excited that we are partnering with Sponsor a Scholar from the Capital Region. And we are raising $10,000 to support a young woman from Albany High School through her college years and as she prepares for college. We are very excited about our affiliation with Capital Region Sponsor a Scholar, and we are doing a lot of fundraising work to help us get to that goal of $10,000. We've also made significant donations to other organizations in the Capital District, such as monetary donations to grassroots givers, which are in Albany, and we've collected items that are needed by St. Paul Center, which is a center for homeless women and their children in Rensselaer. And we've also collected items that we've given that are needed by the Homeless and Travelers Aid Society.
One of our favorite annual events is coming up November 17th, and we call it Good Books for Good Works. We partner with the Book House in Stuyvesant Plaza to raise funds for a designated public school library. We serve light refreshments, and the staff at the Book House do reviews on lots and lots of books for all levels of readership. Last year, we assisted the library at Thomas O'Brien School for Science and Technology in Albany. And in return for our help, the librarian asked our members if they would read to the kindergarten and first grade class in the month of March, which is Women's History Month. The fundraiser is open to the public, is free of charge, and the portion of proceeds from any sale of any book will go to the library project. We invite everyone to join the Book House between 6 and 8 on November 17th.
I was one of the people who read to the children in March, and it was just one of the most wonderful experiences I've ever had. They were just so curious and questioning, and we just had a lot of fun. So I look forward to being able to do that again this time around. So we've talked about the club's home on Madison Avenue and how historic it is. How long has it been the home of the Women's Club?
Joann, the club was purchased from the Stiefel family in 1919, and the house was actually built in 1895 for Joseph Stiefel, right next door to his brother's house at 721 Madison. The two brothers were owners of the Union Clothing Company, which is probably better known in the later years as the Stiefel Men's Clothing Store on State Street. Both houses were designed by a Chicago firm of Stern, Nolan, and Stern in the prairie arts and crafts style, which was really popular in the Midwest at the time. It certainly stands out from a row of Victorian houses on that part of Madison Avenue.
How about the inside? Does it retain its 1895 look, Charlotte?
Well, actually, it looks pretty much on the first floor like it did when the Stiefel family lived there. However, the club in 1925 did a complete renovation of the second floor, changing the bedrooms over into a ballroom. The outside archway that connects the twin Stiefel houses was added after the Women's Club bought it, probably before 1934, around the same time the side entry porch was enclosed. And the Women's Club building is part of the Washington Park Historic District that was listed on the state and national registers of historic places in 1972. And our building is also a designated landmark in the city of Albany.
Well, a lot of responsibility comes with owning such a historic building. What is the club doing to preserve this great landmark?
Well, in the last decade, we've upgraded systems and refurbished the ballroom on the second floor. As Maryhelen said, it's a beautiful space for rental, for parties, for dinners, and for business meetings. We received an environmental protection grant and raised additional funds to refurbish what we call the West Bay. It has glorious leaded glass windows that frame a beautiful stairway to the second floor. We've also done work on a small rear porch at the back of the building, and an accessible bathroom has been added on the first floor.
So, Maryhelen, what's next for this venerable old building?
We're focusing our next round of preservation and fundraising efforts on the repair and rehabilitation of our main front porch. It's a beautiful porch. We want to maintain and enhance what we call the best view on Madison Avenue. It's absolutely stunning. So these repairs will focus on improving safety, but also making the first floor of our building accessible. As Charlotte mentioned, we have an accessible bathroom. Once you're in the house, the first floor is accessible, but we can't quite get you in yet. So we're focusing on expanding the number of people who can then attend events in our building from the community, because we want to get as many people in there as possible. So we're working on that accessibility piece.
So what kind of events go on in the building?
We have very, very many events. We offer such a variety of social and community events for not only our members, but for the general public as well. Charlotte mentioned we have Tuesdays on the porch in the warm weather. We have Tuesdays in the parlor in the cooler months, and that's a event for members just to get together and be social, and of course guests are always invited to that as well. But we also sponsor the monthly meetings for the local chapter of Dining for Women. And Dining for Women is an international organization that raises funds for women-based projects throughout the world. So this local chapter of Dining for Women gets together every month at the Women's Club. They bring a potluck supper, and the money that they would have spent to go out to dinner is then donated to this project that internationally, that same month, women from all over the country, in cities all over the country, in the world for that matter, are doing the same thing. So the beauty of that group really is that it's just such a powerful program to know that this is happening throughout the world. That happens every month at our club. Our clubhouse is also used every Saturday morning for a yoga class. We have a wonderful yoga instructor who comes in. This class is open to the public for a fee. There's a class fee. It's open for members, non-members, men and women alike. We're getting more and more men in that Saturday morning class, and it's a wonderful Saturday morning class. We also offer a variety of special programs, also all open to the public. We've had talks by local authors and journalists like Paul Grandel and Amy Biancali have come to the house talking about books. We have, in the past, joined forces with the Women's Press Club of New York, and a few years ago we held an event where we had a program with Kathy Sheehan as the first woman mayor of Albany and Joann as the first woman mayor of Saratoga Springs. And that was a wonderful evening. This past February, to observe National Women's Heart Healthy Month, we had a female cardiologist from Albany Medical Center come in and talk to us about heart disease from women, which is a very big issue, and women's health issues. That was a great night. All of these events are on our website under an event right on the homepage, event link, and the Women's Club of Albany website is www.womensclubofalbany.com. Sometimes our events are also listed in the Times-Union in their calendar and in other local newspapers, so it's easy to find out anywhere online what it is that we're doing.
Well, the name of the organization is the Women's Club of Albany, but who can join? Do they have to be women? Do they have to live in Albany? Do they have to meet some kind of member qualifications?
Well, Joann, as we know, the name of the club is the Women's Club of Albany, but ironically, you have to be neither a woman nor live in the city of Albany to join. We're a state-recognized nonprofit, and as such, we, of course, don't discriminate. And in fact, we've had a few men over the past few years join. So anyone who's interested, yes, can be a member.
Well, many organizations are struggling these days to keep up their membership rolls. How is the Women's Club doing in that regard?
Well, around the year 2000, it was pretty desperate, and the club looked like it might be near extinction. But a group of very dynamic and wonderful and giving women came in, and through the efforts of that small group of women, and yes, thank you so much to that small group of women, we've enjoyed a rebirth of energy and membership, staying true to the mission and vision established 106 years ago.
And we're always looking for new members. We want you to come and try us out and get to know us. A good way to get to know us is every fourth Monday of the month we have, except for maybe a few months in the summertime, but every fourth Monday of every other month we have Member Monday. And Member Monday is a time for members and guests to come. We do have a potluck supper. We have programs usually at that time, or announcements from the club. It's social because we're all there chatting and eating together. It's a great event, and it's a way for our members to get together and for new people to come. Also, people can just stop by. If you look at our website and see an event, most of our events are, as I said, open to the public, so people can look at the programs or events that we're having and just stop by. We like to say that you can date us before you marry us. So you can come in and stop anytime and spend some dating time with us and get to know us a little bit better. We encourage that. And, we think that given our long history, 106 years, as Charlotte said, there's got to be women out there in the capital region who are past members or whose mothers or grandmothers may have been members of this club. And we would love for those daughters or granddaughters to come and get to know us, to look at our website, to ask women in your family about the history if they've had history with the club, because we're always, our archives committee and our historians in our club are always looking for those unique stories and possible events or experiences that women may have had at the club.
Everybody's pretty pressed for time these days, so why should somebody consider joining the Women's Club? Oh,
and we know everyone's busy. I mean, everyone is just booked, and, they've got life, and they've got work, and they've got family, or, and actually in some cases, maybe there's a little bit of an empty nest syndrome going on. But we do know that women enjoy the unique opportunity to make new friends, to learn from other talented women, and to work together to give back to the community. We have no activity requirements at the Women's Club, so frankly, you can be as active or inactive as you want. Everyone is welcome, and we welcome the opportunity to work with everyone.
Maryhelen, what kind of volunteer opportunities does the club offer?
The club offers all kinds of different opportunities for everyone. We have also gone out to community organizations where we've, as I said earlier, cooked meals. We have participated in planting gardens in other local women's shelters and community organizations and nonprofits as well. So we offer, if you look on our website, many, many community opportunities that fit almost every interest that people may have. Historic preservation, obviously, literary groups. We have a members book club. So there are many, many opportunities for women.
Let's talk a little bit about the club as a rental venue. What kinds of events are held there?
We have had at the club weddings, anniversary parties, birthday parties, perfect venue for bridal showers or baby showers as well. The first floor of the building can accommodate up to 75 people, and the first floor has a parlor, 2 parlors actually, and a large dining room. They can also rent the second floor, which can accommodate also 75 people, and that would include the second floor ballroom. The house has Wi-Fi, of course, so it's perfect for business meetings. We've had wonderful weddings and anniversary parties at the house where people will get married or exchange vows in front of our, gorgeous fireplace in the living room, and then go upstairs for dinner and dancing in the ballroom. So it's a great place for parties. It's especially beautiful, I have to give our decorators credit, in the holiday season, in the winter months when they decorate the house for the holidays. So if people are renting during that time period, they get a lovely little bonus by the house being decorated. But of course, if other times renters come in, they can decorate as they please.
Charlotte, if a renter wants to serve food, does the club provide it, or do you recommend caterers to them?
Joann, we don't have any recommendation of caterers, so that would have to be arrangements that the renter makes for themselves. We do have, as Maryhelen said, we do have a kitchen available for the caterer or for the renter to assemble their food. We have china, we have glassware, we have silverware that's available, but also the renter should know that they are responsible for cleaning up after the event.
Can alcoholic beverages be served?
Well, the Women's Club doesn't have an alcohol license, so because the renter has to get their own insurance for an event, they would have to check with their insurer to see whether or not they can have alcohol. But it's my understanding that they can serve it, but they can't sell it.
What about parking?
We do have a small parking lot at the Women's Club, but most of the parking is on the street. So depending on the day of the week or the time of the day, there's usually plenty of parking. I've never had a problem when I've been there, so it's not a problem. Sometimes for some of our special events, however, we have made arrangements for people to park in a neighboring lot that's available.
How can somebody find out about rentals and make the arrangements to rent the house?
The rental information is all available on our website, www.womensclubofalbany.com. You can also call the club at any time. Leave a phone message. We have an answering machine. Leave all your contact information, and a member of our rental committee will usually call back within a day.
Charlotte, are tours of the house offered?
Well, actually, we're not open for tours on a regular basis, but our membership events offer the perfect opportunity to see the house. And also, we do have a rental committee, so anyone who's interested in renting can make arrangements through the rental committee for a tour.
Charlotte, you talked earlier about the November 17th fundraiser at the Book House. Are there any other fundraising events coming up?
Yes, actually, we're having 2 very special events, fundraisers, in the month of December. On December 3rd, we're having a tea, and on December 16th, we're having a large party. Both of these events, which are, of course, fundraisers, benefit both the Women's Club and the Capital Region sponsor a scholar. And oh, by the way, this is our 10th year of doing both a holiday tea and a holiday party as a fundraiser for another nonprofit in the Capital Region. So we're very proud of that. Both events are open to the public. We hope everybody comes and supports what the Women's Club, and in this instance, the Capital Region sponsor scholar do. All information is available on our website or our Facebook page.
Let's talk a moment about the involvement both of you have had with the Women's Club. Maryhelen, how long have you been a member, and what prompted you to join?
I have been a member, I think, for almost 3 years now, and I joined one summer Tuesday evening when there was an event happening on the porch that I heard about through a friend. And as often is the case with the Women's Club, we will pair together a social event and an opportunity for giving back. So this particular event I was going to donate to the Cinderella Project. And the Cinderella Project is an organization where formal wear, women's gowns are collected, and they are given to young girls to attend their proms. comes. So I looked at this as an opportunity to get a sneak peek at this organization that I've driven by and wondered about for many years, and also to gain back some valuable space in my closet. My closets were jam-packed, so I thought this is a great time to get some space back in my closet. So I cleaned everything out. I walked out of my car with a giant bundle of beautiful gowns to donate, and Charlotte was right there and met me on the porch, took everything out of my arms and introduced me to everyone that was there on the porch. I sat down, I got to know people and talk to them, and by the end of the evening, I wrote a check. And I became a member that very evening.
Yes, you did.
Haven't regretted it at all. Met a bunch of just wonderful, wonderful women. But interestingly for me, when it got to the point where I went into the house and I began to take a tour, the first thing I saw was the front parlor with a table probably 3 times this size, packed with gowns on it. And it made the impression to me that here I was, one person donating a few things, but as an organization, when you get together and you work together as a group of women, very determined women, I might say, big things can happen. So that was my first experience with them. I then completed my tour by walking up that grand staircase to the ballroom, and that's when it hit me that when I was about 9 years old, I had been in that ballroom for my piano recital. And I looked there, and there was this 100-year-old historic Steinway grand piano in this ballroom, and it all came flooding back to me that I'd been in this home. So for me, it's a very kind of historic feeling. It's a sentimental feeling. It is, I was born in Albany. I still live in Albany. So it's just the perfect fit. It really is the perfect fit of an organization that I feel good about belonging to, because I've made wonderful friends, and I know I'm giving back.
Well, thank you, Charlotte and Maryhelen, and we hope that we've given our viewers a good idea of what the Women's Club of Albany is like. We hope that you will join us for one of our events, especially for the 3 fundraisers that we talked about. November 17th at the Book House, December 3rd at the Women's Club for our tea, and December 16th for our holiday party. Thanks again, and we hope we have an opportunity in the future to talk to you some more about the activities of the Women's Club of Albany.